Vintage memory unlocked. I didn't expect this, but today something popped up and made me think of some TV shows that I used to love as a kid. Now, this was called Julia, starring Diahann Carroll, and she was a single mother and a nurse. But what I didn't know is she was widowed. She had a husband who was a fighter pilot, I believe, and he was shot down in Vietnam. So she was a nurse raising her son, and this contributed to me becoming a nurse. I'm telling you, I was so inspired by this television show. But there's something about the culture that was shifting. We were starting to see a lot of single parents and just situations. So let me just bring up a few of the shows and let me know if you remember them too. Oh, wait, before I move on, let me share the merch, okay? The merch back then was just everything. They had lunch boxes, and Julia had a lunch box. You know, I don't know if I had this lunch box, but I definitely had some lunch boxes. I wish I still had them. Do you have your lunch boxes, Gen X? But we had the metal lunch boxes and the thermos that I remember having the hot soup my mom would make and the sandwich. So I'd have the little soup and sandwich combination, and the Barbie doll. I had the Julia Barbie doll, and I even remember this getup that she has on, you know, the two-tone deal. But now when I look at the Barbie doll, I don't think they really captured Julia or Diahann Carroll. The Barbie doll looks a little scary, if you ask me now. Next would be That Girl. I loved this show with Marlo Thomas. And I think about it now, rethink about it. It was a feminist agenda. She was unmarried, living in the city with her apartment. This was the forerunner, they say, to the Mary Tyler Moore Show. So I think now that this was a real slick way to start changing the culture, and a lot of young women wanted to go into the cities and take on careers. And yeah, okay, don't come for me. I'm just saying that I'm noticing what inspired and influenced some of these cultural shifts. And it was done in a real slick way. But anyway, you may know her father, Danny Thomas. He was also an actor, and he has that Danny Thomas children's like hospital thing or something, charity. So another thing about Marlo Thomas, she is married to Phil Donahue. Isn't that something? Who didn't like the Phil Donahue show? The forerunner to the Oprah show, right? Now, the courtship of Eddie's father, that tugged at my heart. That was such a sweet show. Again, another widower, Tom Corbett, played by Bill Bixby. He was a widower, and he had a son named Eddie. And Eddie was a matchmaker. He wanted his father to remarry, and he would set him up with women. So it was very interesting, right? I don't know. I'm just rethinking everything now. And next is Family Affair. I loved this show. It was about a well-to-do bachelor. He was an engineer named Bill Davis, and he was raising his brother's orphaned children in his luxury high-rise in New York City. He did have staff. He had a man named Mr. French who was his butler, and he helped raise the children. So they had a 15-year-old Sissy and then 6-year-old twins, Buffy and Jody. And Buffy was so cute with her little curls, like Shirley Temple curls. And she had a doll that I loved, Mrs. Beasley. And I loved Mrs. Beasley's glasses. They were square, and they reminded me of a neighbor that I had at the time, really nice lady who had square glasses. So me as a kid, I thought square glasses were pretty cool. But anyway, now this was sad because the actress Anissa Jones, who played Buffy, we learned that she didn't really adjust well to the Hollywood thing. Her mother moved the family to Hollywood. Typical story. And she didn't really like the acting thing after a while. She wanted to get out of it. But then she wanted to try out for other roles. And she lost out on some roles to Jodie Foster and Linda Blair. And it got her down. And she was going to a doctor out in LA who was prescribing pills. So she had a pill problem. And that's what ultimately took her out. So she died very young. And the doctor that prescribed all the pills to her did end up getting prosecuted. So that was a short trip down memory lane, some of my faves, and I'm rethinking a lot of the programming, the cultural programming at the time. It was subtle and seemed very innocent. I mean, these examples, they didn't deal with the broken homes caused by divorce. It was more so death with the widows and widowers and orphans and stuff like that. But there were shows that dealt with divorce, like the Brady Bunch and stuff like that. So I may look into this. I may do it again. Let me know if you have any suggestions, but I will love to see your comments, and I want to thank you ahead of time. Take care.
Do you want me to get married again, Eddie?
Whatever you want.
What do you want?
Whatever you want.
Okay. It's settled, right? Whatever I want.
Yep, as long as you get married. But if we do get married, am I in with it?
Of course you are.
Do I have to start all over again, or could I be just like I am?
Just like you are.
Boy, that's a relief. Before Mom died, she told me I'd have to watch over you, take care of you.
And you're doing just that, Eddie.
People, let me tell you about my best friend.